Hypersonic weapons are characterized by the fact that they have travel at very fast speed. The Russian missile that was used in Ukraine allegedly travels at 10 times the speed of sound, and Chinese missiles also travel at about 5 times the speed of sound. All major military countries have development programs now for hypersonic missiles.
So why has the US, the UK and allies like Australia been so slow?
They're not slow. The United States has already been involved in a program of developing. They have 5 different programs to develop hypersonic weapons, and Australia has been working on that for some time as well. But what they're trying to do, I think, in this case, is to develop a weapon that might be suitable as a deterrent in case China wants to use ballistic missiles to attack American naval groups in the South China Sea.
Mm-hmm. So you mean weapons that could intercept those ballistic missiles?
Well, that's a different thing. The whole purpose of hypersonic missiles is to be not interceptable. In other words, the Chinese and the Russians are really worried about the United States being able to intercept long-range ballistic missiles, especially nuclear weapons, with their national missile defense program. And hypersonic missiles are supposed to evade those defenses. The purpose of the US program with Australia and the United Kingdom is to develop weapons that are capable of very rapidly and very accurately striking Chinese ballistic missile sites if there should be an armed conflict. Of course, the whole purpose is to deter, not to actually go to war.
Indeed. And that's a very good point that you make, Christoph, because many people say, and Russia and China have China has jumped in on this, saying this is only going to increase tensions and increase a sort of arms race.
Well, the Chinese are always saying that, but they are increasing tensions by creating these artificial islands in the South China Sea, by claiming this extensive maritime area as part of their own territory. And so this is really, the purpose is to continue to defend freedom of navigation and also perhaps to defend Taiwan if there should be a conflict.
Yeah. How costly is it to develop this type of weaponry?
It could be very costly because it's very advanced weapons, but so far only maybe $2-3 billion have been spent in the United States. I would expect that once it gets closer to maturity, when they're actually developing them, then it would cost more. But the important difference is the United States wants to use hypersonic weapons only for conventional weapons. China and Russia are actually more focused on using hypersonic technology for nuclear weapons. So that's quite a different kind of program. But of course, Russia has a few conventional programs. The missile used in Ukraine was an air-launched missile that was with a conventional warhead.
Okay, so are you saying that Russia is not using hypersonic missiles in the Ukraine war at the moment?
Well, they've used one so far.
Yeah.
They are the most advanced weapons that they've got, and they probably only have a few of them. So it's likely they will continue to use ordinary ballistic missiles and cruise missiles and occasionally use hypersonic weapons. The Ukrainians can't defend them against anyway. They don't have a defense even against ordinary ballistic missiles. So there's no real military purpose except for the fact that these more modern weapons are a bit more precise. But precision doesn't seem to be on the agenda at the moment as they are destroying buildings and destroying whole cities.
Indeed.
So I don't think hypersonic weapons are going to be a major factor in the Ukraine war. For Russia, it's more about the relationship with the United States, and for China, it is also about US, China, and Australian relations.
Yeah. It is interesting when you look at the way the war is playing out and how indiscriminate Russia is being. Of course, it's a different theatre of war. If we were looking at a more global situation, what does this weaponry tell us about where we are moving in terms of global warfare?
It's not a very fundamental change. The most important thing is that defense against missiles is going to become much more difficult, because you have to understand, if we develop hypersonic weapons, ultimately the US will also want to develop a defense against hypersonic missiles, but that doesn't exist right now. So the whole purpose of the hypersonic program was to subvert the defensive capabilities. You know that Korea and Japan have deployed defensive missiles against North Korea, And of course, the United States has a national missile defense program, which is fairly small scale, but it has created fear in Russia that Russia's weapons might become obsolete. This is why they're focused so much on hypersonic weapons.
Yeah. It is. It's a different thing. So do you feel like Australia is making the right decision in combining with the US and the UK on this cooperation?
Oh, yes, because it really gives Australia a step up in becoming, having the most modern military technology that might be necessary. And I think it's a good thing that Australia and the United States and the UK are working together in the South China Sea and the Far East. But the key thing is it's about deterrence. It's about preventing war, not about starting wars.
Yes, which is a timely reminder. Christoph, appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.